All right, here we go. I'd like to welcome Ernesto Padilla to our offices here. He's going to speak a little bit with us today about the history of this company and a little bit about some of his current blends and some plans for the future. Welcome, Ernie.
Hey, great to see you, Tom. Good to be on Long Island and see your operation. So,
the first thing I wanted to mention, everybody, this is something that we've had. We keep this locked away in the office for special occasions. We were fortunate enough to get 2 of these a couple of years back when you released this.
yeah, about 5 years ago.
At the RTDA.
This is very nice. We only made 300 boxes of these in 1932, Oscuro Limitado, and I happened to steal one from Tom. And the last one's here. This is an excellent cigar. This cigar was made with Pepin Garcia, if anybody's heard of him. You know, I don't know if you want me to talk about it a little bit.
Sure, that'd be great. What was unique about that cigar? What made it special?
This was the first Maduro with Pepin, and one of the first, I think, very good cigar.
Okay, go ahead.
Where do I start again?
You talk about what you want. This is about you.
No, you just have a very, very nice and unique cigar, and you know, there's so many brands that come out, and this is a product that you're not going to find very often. You hear about vintage cigars, this and that. I mean, the cigar's over 5 years old. It only came in these special 45 count humidors that have Robusto, Torpedo, and Churchill, and this really is a special cigar. I mean, 32s went on to get 93, 94 rating, Cigar Aficionado. Yeah. But I came at the time to Pepin and I said, look, I really want to do something special in the 32, which is already a great cigar. It was 32 is my father's birthday, and you know, he's no longer with us, and he was a big cigar smoker guy. I love cigars, and pictures of him, and he was a writer. I grew up in a tobacco plantation that grew tobacco, and you know, there's pictures of him in Time magazine smoking cigars and things like that, and I always grew up with him, you know, images of him, and at that time I used to go with him as a young boy to buy cigars, and back when people bought cigars and got on with their life. Now things have changed in the cigar world. You know, we got lounges and you get to meet people like me. Things.
That wrapper, Ernie, was that Connecticut broadleaf, or what was unique about that wrapper that Pepin worked for you?
No, this was a higher priming Ecuadorian. We call it Oscuro, which means darker. And when I went to Pepin, I said, look, you know, I know you got some bales, I know you got some stuff that you can't use, that you, as a tobacco guy, that you really like, and you know, I like to use some of it. You know, we can't make it in a normal production cigar, and oh, you know, I don't know, you know, we got a lot of that stuff going on. I know, you know, well, let's do it, come on. And so after a lot of, you know,
the mating dance and making
after a lot of that, Cuban coffee, some screaming, that's what we do in Cuba.
A little crying,
you know, a little crying, you know. He said, okay, you know, and we made it, and it's really one of my favorites in the line, and it's rare to, you know, to see this. You know, there's still customers that come to me and say, wow, I still have one of these, and this was probably one of the best cigars I ever smoked in my life. Guys that have smoked Cuban, and
we just break it out for special occasions, the special guests when they come by to have one of those. It's really
very fortunate, you know.
But keepsake.
But I gotta say, you know, one thing about Padilla, because you know, we transitioned from making cigars with Pepin, and it was a great roller. We started with him, 10 rollers in Miami. What a lot of people know at the time is that he was working closely with a company called Aganorsa, and probably haven't heard of them. They're the people that bought Tropical, and a gentleman called Eduardo Fernandez is the owner, and he's in the agricultural business, and he's Cuban, and he's an intelligent man, and was partners with Pepin at the time. And at that time, a lot of things were going on, and we decided to move our production over to Tropical. But the tobacco that we use, the Nicaraguan tobacco, first generation Cuban seed, and the Cuban growers, agronomists that produced the current Miami in 32, they're just as good, except, you know, before, at the end, when we were making cigars with Pepin, you switched over to Ecuadorian wrappers. They're very good wrappers, but we went on to use what was originally on these cigars, which was all Nicaraguan Cuban seed. So these cigars are, I don't know if I want to characterize them as more experienced smoker, but I think so. I think if you've been smoking for a while, you're really going to appreciate the nuances, you know, and the differences between an Ecuadorian and Nicaraguan wrapper, which is takes a lot of work. I mean, Ecuadorian wrappers are great wrappers. They burn easily. They're easy to work. The Nicaraguan has a lot of spice and body, and and they work real well. This is another one that we did. That this was never actually made with Pepin. Series 68, a gentleman called Juan Carlos Aguilar, who actually met at Pepin's factory, and Pepin introduced me to him as a great blender and roller, him and his father, and have a very nice factory down there. And they also make our Cazadores.
This is the Honduran factory that you work with, right?
Yeah. I mean, right now our cigars are made in Honduras using no Honduran tobacco. It's just how things have been set up in this factory, Raíces Cubanas, which makes done some great stuff for us, and we're very happy with them. I mean, these Cazadores are a great cigar, about $5 MSRP.
That's a great value, this cigar.
And that's what we were looking for. I mean, you know, triple capped, on filler. This one actually does have an Ecuadorian wrapper on it. This is well constructed. I think this one just got an 89 Cigar Aficionado in this issue. The other cigars, I got that same score with like $20-something. So, you know, looking to make a cigar that has the same profile, same family as the regular Padillas, which are, I'd say Padilla are characterized as a medium body, medium full cigar, mostly earthy, spicy. I mean, I don't want to get into the whole nutmeg, coffee, orange peel, lead pencil stuff like my sales rep over here likes to talk about, you know, hints of nutmeg and all that. But, you know, they do have a certain style. You know, these are not mild to medium cigars, and they're not blow your head off cigars. I mean, I hate to use the phrase that's been used so many times, Cubanesque, you hear that all the time. What does that mean? There is a reason for it, you know. Our cigars are, starting with the seed strains, to the way the tobacco's fermented, to the triple cap, which we did from Pepin and we continue to do today, to the entubado, which is a method used inside, which will take forever to explain, is very much the style, traditional style that Cuban cigars are made in, and that's kind of what our brand is about. I mean, I'm Cuban. My dad grew up in the tobacco plantation. They were part of the industry. I really love the industry and the process, and there's good tobacco from other places, but I feel, you know, Cuban tradition is done well. This is our 48.
1948.
This is a cigar we made designed to be more of a medium, milder blend, and this is a very nice. It depends how long you've been smoking, but this is a very nice, accessible cigar. Somebody who wants to get into Padilla but doesn't maybe want to get into the a little bit more of a fuller end of our line.
Would you say this is the mildest cigar in your line, Ernie?
This and the Series 68, I think, you know. I don't think none of the. I think these cigars you've been smoking for a little bit, they're not going to be overwhelming, especially these days when you find so many cigars that are overwhelming with ligero, you know, high nicotine content. I mean, I always try to blend cigars that are more full flavored than full body. You know, the one thread that they have in all these cigars is they're all Nicaraguan fillers, which I think is the best tobacco, the closest to Cuba and the best tobacco right now. And Eduardo Fernandez and Agrinorsa Tobacco, the growers, have he's done well in his other businesses. So he's able to procure a lot of land there, a lot of prime farms that give us the ability within these farms. You go, oh, this was all Nicaraguan, but within the farms you have different lots. You know, you use different seed strains, and this and Cuba are the only two countries that you can do this with, that we know of. Maybe you can do it in Alaska, I don't know. We'll see what Sarah Palin says. But you really, as far as we know, this Nicaragua and Cuba are the two places that you can blend what's called the Puro, 100% cigar from that country.
What's the suggested retail roughly on the 1948, Ernie?
I think it's about $7, $8. You know, or in Minneapolis, I believe it's $334 for a cigar.
Now this 1932, this was a cigar blend that a lot of people are familiar with. Got a lot of high remarks from Cigar Aficionado and others, but the product's changed a little bit. This was a product that at one time was made by the Pepin people, and it's now made for you. Talk about a little bit about what's being made today.
These cigars are made by Raíces Cubanas using all Nicaraguan tobacco. The difference is we went back to the Pepin no longer made it, but like I said earlier, if you stayed with us, the grower that was partners with Pepin at the time, Agrinorsa, Eduardo Fernandez, who his company and Raíces Cubana factory, who make these cigars today are using the tobacco from the same farms and the same lots and the same seed strains, except, we went to an all Nicaraguan on the wrapper as opposed to, or towards the end when these were made by Pepin, that was an Ecuadorian. And these cigars actually scored higher than Pepin's, 93, 94 rating on the Miami and the 32. I kept the Miami because so many people knew the blend. One of the big differences between the Miami and the 1932 is the seed strains. This is an all Corojo cigar. You've heard a lot about Corojo and blah blah blah. That's a long story, but this is a Corojo Criollo with some jalapa and some esteli. Jalapa has a little bit of sweetness. Esteli is more the full-bodied spiciness.
So that has some non-Nicaraguan tobacco. Jalapa, that's Honduran tobacco?
No, jalapa, Nicaragua. Yeah.
Okay.
Jalapa is closest to the northern border of Nicaragua and Honduras. Then you have Condega, and you have Esteli. And you go, Esteli is basically the fullest soil you can get. I mean, tobacco there is usually fuller bodied. Condega, a little bit more medium bodied in that area. And then Jalapa is very similar to Pinar del Rio, a nice, very aromatic, sweet, rich tobacco that you get there, but not as spicy and full bodied as you get in Esteli. So, these cigars have continued to do very well for us, and some really, it's great to see the consumer come back and say, wow, these new 32s in Miami, I really enjoy them just as much, if not more. I mean, I just smoked an original Miami one that I saw at the retailer's shop today, and it was great. A little milder after like 5 or 6 years, but we continued our philosophy, which is to make Cuban-style cigars that are medium, rich, full-flavored, using what I consider at this time, until for a lot of reasons, Cuba gets it together, gives time for the soil to rest. At this time, I think Nicaragua has the best tobacco, and I believe our resources working with Aganorsa have been great. I mean, we've also done stuff with the Oliva family. Oliva Cigars use a lot of Ecuadorian wrappers and then the Nicaraguan fillers, and we're going to be doing some things coming up with them. We got a new project coming out, especially for these times, which was, the challenge is to make a good cigar at a great value, and that's been pretty. It's a big challenge, and that's kind of what we did with the Cazadores. But I want to continue that, and we're coming out with a cigar called La Terraza, which is La Terraza means a terrace. It's a restaurant that Hemingway would go and frequent, where he kept his boat in Cojamar, Cuba. But anyway, these are 20 count boxes. They're going to be in Habano and Maduro. MSRP of $5. That's one that I'm really looking forward to. When I got the blends from the factory, and I was going back and like, really, we can make this for this price? So, honestly, it's a great cigar. And then we've got another one, a new box press coming out called Artemis. That's going to be a very nice cigar.
That will be under the Padilla name, though, or
Yeah,
will it have its
Padilla.
own separate
No, it's Padilla.
identity?
It's all Padilla. Everything I do is Padilla. I mean, my brother and I and my family, it's what we are. We don't try to, go outside the brand. It's just, the way we've done things, and it's worked for us. I mean, we want the consumer, when he picks up a Padilla, to kind of expect a couple things from it, to have a certain profile, a certain style, and that's, these new brands fall in line with that. I mean, the times are what they are, and cigar smokers are looking for the best cigar they can get for the value. People still love the Miami. You do very well with them in the 32. Guys still want that special cigar, and there's guys that smoke these quite a bit. I mean, after this, we're going to do an event that he was kind of short on these boxes, so it's done very well. We continue to do well with those lines, but I'm looking forward to introducing cigars, Padilla cigars, into a great value price point.
That's a little bit counter to projects like this that help really establish your success in the cigar market. A limited edition of sort of rare collector item type cigars. Is there anything planned in the future, Ernie, along these types of lines again, to come out with something maybe to reward certain retailers that have been with you from the beginning?
Yeah, I mean, we have this project called the Artemis. We came out with a cigar, I think I have it here, also called the Dominus, which is our fuller body cigar. Everybody loves the band with the lion there, and this one's a kind of continuation of that. Well, that one's only going to be available for about 50 or 60 retailers keeping the inventory kind of low on that. It's going to be our first box press cigar, so that's one we're doing there. That's just going to be small runs on that, and I'm going to continue doing this because this is stuff that is fun and I enjoy, and I still think there's a market for it, and people are accepting of it with Padilla. We go out there, like I've been here in the New York area, and consumers know it as a traditional, well-respected, premium boutique company, and that's where I am. We're a small company, and I love cigars. I love smoking cigars. I like a certain style of cigar, the more, I hate to use that word again, Cuban-esque, I don't know how else to say it. So we're going to continue doing that, but I also go to cigar stores and I buy cigars, and I like to pay for them, so I can have the full experience like the end consumer. There's nothing worse than paying $10 for a crap cigar.
And that's right.
So
we've all done that.
Right, and then you go out there and you buy a cigar for $5, and you're like, wow, this is a great cigar. So the challenge is on to come out with those great value out there, and there's some great cigars out there. So there's a lot of good competition, exciting stuff to smoke, and I look forward to continuing and playing around with new tobaccos and new seed strains and doing new things.
With thinking forward here a few years, do you see us as a nation being closer to open trade with Cuba, or is that still too far away to really be concerned with in our business?
I think, it's going to happen. There's no doubt about it. I mean, we'll see. The center can't hold with the disastrous 50-something year reign of this dictator down there. But the Cuban government doesn't want the embargo to end. Anytime something, this new administration comes in, and anytime that they feel that the U.S. is going to open up, they do something, whether it's the shoot down that happened in the late 90s of the unarmed airplanes, long story about that were called Brothers to the Rescue and looked for Cuban rafters in the Florida Straits and notified the Coast Guard, and they Cuban MiG military pilots shot unarmed American airplanes down, and that was when the Clinton administration was looking into opening up possibly the embargo. I think there's a lot of things that need to be worked out. We are closer than ever. I think Cuba's trying to figure out, the government, what to do. For the cigar consumer, they're going to shift a lot of production up here. We have family that still grows tobacco there, Pinar del Rio, and they've made some adjustments, but it's very difficult. You need time for the soil to rest. You need the right fertilizers. This is a country where people have issues getting enough calories, much less growing a product like tobacco. So when it does happen, we'll have a spike. But I think it'll be a little madness. Maybe we'll hopefully introduce new people to it. But what's exciting is places like Nicaragua, where it's being done correctly with the right resources, and the soil is properly being tended to. So I look forward to it. It's not going to be easy. I think there'll be some madness there for a while in the retail segment. A lot of people running to Cuban cigars. A lot of new consumers will probably try it and things. But I think now, this day and age, sitting here, coming out to 2011, the cigar guy today, he's been smoking for a while. He might have smoked cigars in Europe or bought them overseas or done that. And I think he's beyond that whole myth now today. I think, the Cubans are going to be in for a shock. There's nothing better than Cuban tobacco when it's on. There's no doubt about it. It is the best in the world. That soil, that area, that place is the best. There's a reason why I got that. But like anything, it's only the best when you care for it properly, and you tend to it properly, and that's not what's happened for a long time. So, the world's changing, and hopefully that changes sometime soon. But it's going to be a rough, interesting ride. What do you think, Sam?
I think it'll be mayhem at first,
Yeah.
but I think also there'll be opportunities to blend Cuban tobacco with Nicaraguan tobacco and Honduran tobacco, and that the consumer ultimately will win. Well, he'll be able to get cigars created in a way that have never been created before. That will take some time, but ultimately I think that's what we'll see. You'll have a mix of Cuban puros
Well, it's nothing new. It's
traditional
what happened in Tampa. Clear
That's what
Havanas that
happened.
had,
That's
you know,
absolutely.
so it's most of the cigars at the time being made in Tampa were, you know, either you had a Cuban wrapper because of taxes or whatever. So actually, believe it or not, it was always Cuba's always been a very small production in that. I mean, you know, I've been giving samples of different things, you know, so it's interesting to see the reaction. But some of the Cuban cigars are getting a little better in quality, but I think there's still some time before a lot of things have to happen for those things to happen. But that's one of the things that was definitely going to benefit the end consumer. I mean, and you're going to see a lot of new faces in the business, a lot of new Cubans with a lot of experience, growers and things like that you haven't seen before. You know, adding to the business. So
Interesting point that have been sort of kept behind the
yeah,
curtain.
yeah. That people have learned how to do a lot with very limited resources. So when the right resources come to them, I think you're going to see some interesting things. You know.
Well, Ernie, I'm very grateful that you had some time to come and visit us here today.